From the Alaskan Purchase, to the acquisition and construction of the Panama Canal, annexation of Hawaii, and the Spanish-American War, America has constantly been finding ways to acquire new land. But why is that important for American history? The purchase of Alaska took place from 1866 to 1898, and marked the end of Russian efforts to expand their trade and settlements to the Pacific coast of North America. U.S. purchased Alaska from $7.2 million, which in modern day would be about $153,537,567, which was very cheap for the time period. Russia asked America to buy Alaska, as they didn't want Britain to take it from them, as Alaska was a colony of Russia. The United States Senate approved the purchase on April 9. However, the president at the time, Andrew Johnson, signed the treaty on May 18. The reason the purchase was so cheap is because the Russian economy was really bad at the time. And so Alaska officially transferred to United States control on October 18, in year 1867. The acquisition and construction of the Panama Canal started during the late 1800s, 1881 to be exact, and wasn't finished until 2016. The canal connects the Caribbean to the Pacific Ocean, which makes it ideal for trade. The concept of the canal was originally made by the Spanish, but the French were the first to actually start construction of the canal. Roughly 25,000 people passed away during the construction, whether it was from malaria or yellow fever. The United States wanted to get involved, so they signed the Spooner Act so they could help Panama with the canal. The United States took control of the construction and they invested in sanitation so people would stop dying. The United States gave Panama control of the canal, and they expanded it in 2016. Currently, Trump wishes to gain control of the canal again. Before we go straight to the annexation of Hawaii, it is important to note the efforts the monarch took to remain free. They created a Western-style government and constitution, traveled to other nations to meet with world leaders, and tried to balance between Britain, France, and the United States. However, Western missionaries arrived in the 1820s and didn't want to leave as they had developed sugar plantations. Sugar was a luxury good, so the fact they were able to easily produce it in Hawaii and make a lot of money off of it was all the reason they needed to take it. So, lots of Westerners were moving in for the wealth they make off of sugar, Hawaiis were dying of diseases they brought, and Americans were pushing for more control in Hawaii government. In 1872, Hawaiian military asked the United States government for help. The annexation of Hawaii took place throughout the year 1893, and Washington leaders were concerned through the 1800s that Hawaii would become a part of the European nation's empire. In the 1830s, Britain and France forced Hawaii to accept treaties giving them economic privileges. In 1842, United States Secretary of State Daniel Webster wrote out of Hawaiian agents for the United States interests and opposing annexation to other nations. He also wrote out proposing to Great Britain and France that no nation will seek out special privileges or engage in further colonization of the islands. The end of Hawaiian independence came with the last monarch, Queen Liliuokalani. She tried to chance the Hawaiian constitution back to its original form to give herself more power. The Americans in Hawaii forced her to quit and took over, then asked the United States to annex. At first, the United States disagreed of the overthrow. But they also knew that taking Hawaii would be good as they could dominate the Pacific. The Spanish-American War was short, only taking place in 1898. Cuba was fighting for independence from Spain, and the United States intervened because they had trade routes in Cuba that could be blocked if the Spanish got a hold of it. The reason the United States joined the way is because a Spanish ambassador gossiped about the president, calling him weak and a popularity hunter. This is known as the Zimmerman Telegram. United States told Spain to stop killing people and to let Cuba be independent. Spain didn't want Cuba to be independent, so they said no. Us makes the Teller Amendment was a joint resolution passed by Congress in 1898 that stated the United States would not annex Cuba after the Spanish-American War. Spain declared war against the United States and lost almost immediately. United States got Cuba and let it remain independent. However, they put in place the Platt Amendment. which is an amendment that basically says America gets to invade Cuba if it does stuff we don't like. So, now we know all this. But why was this so important to America's status? Well, on one hand it not only confirmed us as a global power, expanded the territory of the United States, and gave us more control in the world, it serves as a piece of history we can learn from. There were better ways to handle certain situations, especially the annexation of Hawaii, and it's important we can learn from it.